Well, let's go to Billboard's Hot 100. Without further ado, May 4th, 1968. We are in the 60s YouTube channel, Mr. DJ, and we'll pick out a Lost 45 from the May 4th, 1968. But let me give you the top 5 records real quick from May 4th, 1968, the week that ended May 4th. Tighten Up by Archie Bell and the Drills. Archie Bell, I believe, was recovering from a leg wound he sustained in Vietnam when that record was put out as a single. I have to tell a story about that one later on when I talk about Archie Bell and the Drills. Lady Madonna by the Beatles at number 4. Young Girl by Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. Probably one of the underrated singers of the late 60s, Gary Puckett, number 3. And Cry Like a Baby by the Box Tops, number 2. And Honey by Bobby Goldsboro at number 1. Not a whole lot of action really on the top 5 of Billboard's Hot 100, but there's James Brown at number 6. I Got a Feeling, yes. Cowboys to Girls by the Intruders. You remember the song Love is a Baseball Game? 2 strikes or 3 strikes you're out by the Intruders. That was a beautiful record. But let's go to number 40 on Billboard's Hot 100, May 4th, 1968. A Lost 45, Call Me Lightning by The Who. Kind of like a hip-sounding record, but this is kind of more of a pop-sounding record, although it does have that trademark loud guitar, that wall of sound guitar, aggressive guitar attack in that record, and they had that pop flavor on top of it, and that dun 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 had that hook in there, that chant that just grabs you. Call Me Lightning by The Who. God, I was a big fan of The Who. God, they were one of the innovative rock bands of the 60s. Of course, hardly anybody over 25 liked The Who. I mean, well, but that made them even more cool. Of course, this was back when rock and roll was relatively young. This was 50 years ago, almost 50 years ago. The album Magic Bus, The Who on tour, although the album itself was just studio tracks, no live tracks on that album. And it was released in September of 1968. Pictures of Lily was on that album. Boy, talk about some aggressive drumming by Keith Moon. One of the best drummers ever, but boy, he had a reputation destroying hotel rooms, throwing cherry bombs and even dynamite down toilets, throwing furnitures out of his friend's house, their upper story windows, tearing up TV sets. I mean, quite an eccentric fellow. Died tragically in the late 70s. God, I was so sad when he passed away, 1978. But we're in 1968 right now. The estimated cost of all that hotel destruction, the plumbing cost, the estimate, I think this is in today's dollars, $500,000. Those hotel managers were probably not too happy about having a Who in their midst. But anyway, musically speaking, though, Pictures of Lily got that guitar attack too by Pete Townsend. It's so melodic. So hard and so melodic at the same time. That's what makes these hard rock records so satisfying. Pictures of Lily didn't do too well here in the States. Top 50 here in the States. Monster hit in England, though. Top 5 in England. Magic Bus, which came off this album, released as a single. Well, it came out in the fall of 68. Late summer 68. Went to number 25 on Billboard's Hot 100. Let's go to that album real quick. There's a couple of things that stood out at me on this album. Well, we got Run, Run, Run on here. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on this album. And Bucket T. I got to double check on Bucket T. I'm thinking that either the Ripcords or Running the Daytonas did Bucket T. I think it was the Ripcords. Might have been the follow-up to Hey Little Cobra. Bucket T was written by Roger Christian. He was a DJ in Los Angeles. He wrote Little Old Lady from Pasadena. He wrote some of those beach songs back in the mid-60s, or at least co-wrote them. And this song, Bucket T, co-written by Dean Torrance of Jan and Dean. Now that's interesting because here's the deal on that. Pet Sounds, the album Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. wowed some of the British musicians, but not Keith Moon. Keith Moon was not a fan of Pet Sounds. He much preferred the Beach Boys' car records. And it makes me wonder if he had something to do with inserting their version of Bucket T, the Who's version of Bucket T, into that album. I can see Keith Moon saying to Roger Daltrey or Pete Townsend, "Hey, let's put a good old fashioned Beach Boys car song into this album. Let's kick some ass with it." Yes, you know how we do it. And that's what I guess that might have been what happened, Bucket T. Well, let's go to this song, "Call Me Lightning." I hate to use the word bubblegum. I like bubblegum, but you can't really use it in association with the Who. I can see some Who fans up in arms right now. "Mr. DJ, what the hell are you talking about, man? We need to come over there and take care of you, buddy, if you're saying the Who's bubblegum." But this song does have a little bit of it does have a heavy pop flavor to it, which makes it satisfying. Maybe shading just a little bit into bubblegum, relatively speaking. But it's still a hard rock record. It's still a rock and roll record. It's still going to annoy the parents. Guaranteed, back in 1968. Let's go to that song right now. It peaked at number 40, though. Wasn't the Who's biggest hits. Trying to remember the chronology of hits. There was Pictures of Lily in the summer of 67. And there was Happy Jack. Gosh dog, I forgot about Happy Jack. That might have been in the spring of 67. I can see For Miles in the fall of 67. Then Magic Bus came out in 1968. Fall of 68. Now, Magic Bus was actually conceived in 1965 by Pete Townsend when they were working on their first studio album, My Generation, but was not put out as a single until 68. Magic Bus. God, one of their best. Mind-blowing records. Don't you remember it back in the 60s? Even going into the early 70s, they'd come out with these songs that were like, you're like, wow, man, this is just fantastic. This is the path less, this is the road less traveled right here. Breaking new territory, breaking new ground. The Who. Wait a minute, I'm getting off topic again. Let's go to that Billboard's Hot 100. You can tell it's late. 23 past midnight. At number 40, it was up from 47 the previous week on Billboard's Hot 100 for 8 weeks. "Call Me Lightning" by The Who.